Hey everyone, I'm Crystal, and this is Crystal's Literary Lounge. Welcome. And I wanted to discuss all of the books that I read the second week of October. So I actually had 4 books this week, and for the most part, it was another great, solid week of reading for me. There was one book that wasn't my favorite, and in fact, I DNF'd it. So I want to talk about that just very briefly, since there really isn't much to talk about since I didn't finish it. Um, but this was, I got these first set from the library. So My Roommate is a Vampire. It's supposed to be sort of like a romantic comedy, but it wasn't funny to me at all. I didn't enjoy it. So I ended up I got 100 pages in and I just wasn't having fun, so I quit reading it. And I feel bad for saying that, but I don't recommend that one. Some people out there might like it. It's basically, the premise is you have this vampire, he needs a roommate, not really sure why, but his roommate is a human, and it's supposed to be like their love story. There wasn't much of a love story. There was like some instant chemistry that happened, and then some awkwardness, but the awkwardness wasn't even funny, so I couldn't get into that one. My absolute favorite book that I read, though, was this. It was Assistant to the Villain. Oh my gosh. I loved this book. I laughed the entire time. So this was my first rom-com that I've ever read, and I really hope that I can find more just like this one. I was hoping the other book was going to be like this, and it wasn't. It really let me down. So The Assistant to the Villain. So we have Evie Sage. She is down on her luck. She got fired. Well, it wasn't even fired. She quit working for the blacksmith so she was like, nope, I'm out of here. She runs away, and she's been the sole person responsible for taking care of her dad and her younger sister for years now. Things happened with the mother. Mother's gone. So it's up to her. Her dad got sick. He couldn't take care of anyone. He can't even take care of himself because he's so sick. So everything is on her. So she's kind of wandering around, trying to figure out, what do I do? I need a job. And she stumbles across the villain. Their paths cross, and just chaos and hilarity ensues. She ends up telling him, her, as they're on the run from like the guards, stuff that happened. He's a little fascinated by her because she's not reacting in any way like he thinks she should be reacting, like a normal person would react, and she's not. She's just kind of like, another day. What have I gotten myself into now? She's hilarious because she's clumsy, and just everything bad that could go wrong goes wrong with her. That's just how it is. So he says, you know what? I need an assistant. Why don't you come work for me? I'll pay you like some good money. So she goes and she works for him. And it's this whole office vibe environment. And it was so good. It was so good. I know some people didn't like it. I thought it was great. I loved this world building that happened. I loved the slow burn and the tension between the villain and Evie. And so we have these situations that it made me giggle, and it made me laugh the entire time. There is someone who is trying to sabotage the villain. He's not sure who it is, and that's the whole like storyline of this book is the villain and his assistant and some of his other like close people trying to figure out who is sabotaging us, like, because he is trying to bring down the evil king, and the evil king is tied to the villain's origin story. They have a connection there. It's why the villain is the way he is, and everything revolves around getting back and destroying and bringing down the king's empire. And Evie is, of course, like sunshine. She's a good person, and the villain's like this grumpy guy. So it was hilarious. I loved it. It was 5 stars for me. I know that I guess it's going to be a trilogy, I had no idea. I thought that this was going to be a standalone. But there's a twist at the end. I didn't see it coming. And it just ends. It just ends. And I was like, no, I need to know what happens next. Fortunately, I got to wait a year to see what happens next. But it'll be okay. So far, Assistant to the Villain was my absolute favorite book that I have read so far this year. I recommend it. If you like to laugh and you just like to have a good time and you like a grumpy and sunshine pairing, I think you're going to enjoy this. And next, I read The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. So I continued with the story. I enjoyed The Ballad of Never After better than I did Once Upon a Broken Heart here. I did. I liked it so much better. I even liked Evie. A lot of books that I read have Evie as the character. So I liked Evie better in this one. And I love Jax. Absolutely love him. He's great. So this continues on the story. It literally picks off right where Once Upon a Broken Heart left off. And so we have, if you haven't read Once Upon a Broken Heart, there's going to be a little bit of spoilers here in order for me to talk about this book. So, sorry. So with this one, it's Jax and Evie. They are trying to find these 4 stones that they need in order to make like this Valerie arch, which is a gateway, open. And Evie is, we find out, the key in book 1. And they need her and the stones in order to get to what's inside of the arch. No one's quite sure what's inside this arch. But Jax needs in it. Well, he doesn't actually need in it. He just wants the stones. He wants to use the stones. But Chaos, who is a fate, just like Jax is a fate, needs inside the arch. There's something in there that he needs. And so this is just their story together as they are trying to find the stones. Jax and Evie, their chemistry, it is so good. They are, again, he seems like this dark, mysterious fate, and she's just this like over the top, sickeningly like just wants to see the good in everybody and wants to believe in happily ever after. And in the first book, it kind of, I was like, oh, like, because I'm older, I'm cynical, and she's just this young girl who just wants to believe in the good in everybody. She's slowly understanding that not everybody is good and people are going to continue to like screw you over. And that slowly, it kind of dampens, who she is. And I liked her a little more in this one. And it's written in such a whimsical and sweet way that I really can't wait for book 3. And I really hope that Jax and Evie get their happily ever after. I'm very nervous for that. I'm very nervous. But I really hope that it happens. And I actually really liked this book. It was 4 stars for me. Can't wait for the next one. Hopefully I can get that pretty quickly from the library. I think like number 3 in line. So once I have that, I'll give that review, and can't wait. Can't wait to finish the story. The next book that I read, my favorite, was Throne of the Fallen. And I'll get into that. I'll give like a more detailed review of it. But it was a 5-star read for me. Absolutely loved it. It was a great reading month so far for October. This one picks up with some of the characters that we're introduced to in Maniscalco's Kingdom of the Wicked series. This, though, follows Prince Envy and Camilla, and they are in a high-stakes game playing to make sure that his kingdom that has been thrown into chaos ends up surviving out of this, and it is their romance. It was 5 stars. It was great. Maniscalco at her best whenever it comes to writing. This one is an adult romance, and it is 600 pages of just like great storytelling and great spicy fun time. So that is everything that I read this week for week 2, and absolutely loved it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.